What's up? It's your favorite YouTuber, Broken Gifted, and I'm gonna be doing a short little Q&A today. You guys left some good questions in the comments, and they definitely weren't all my alt accounts. I don't know why you guys keep saying this. I got real fans, I got real clout, so hop off my dick. So let's just get straight into it. I'm excited because I love all my fans. Let's just get into reading the first comment. Oh, this one got a lot of likes. It's from Broken Gifted #1 fan. That's a cool name, bro. All right, it says, Broken Gifted, I'm a really big fan. I love your videos. Commenting from Israel. I guess I'm sorry to hear that, bro. I hope your situation gets better. Anyways, they say, question, how do I get cool like you? P.S. You're my everything. Thanks for commenting, Broken Gifted #1 fan. Well, actually, I have a PhD in swagology, and I have a little chart that I can share with you guys, but it's just going to be blocked by a course that's going to cost you $100. Just kidding. I'm the GOAT, so I'm going to give it to you guys for free, raw. Here's the chart that I made, and this might seem a little bit confusing at first, but don't worry, I'm going to break it all down for you guys. But basically, this chart would be different for any individual person, but this is just my chart, and you can sort of, twist it and form it into your own method, into your own life, so that it could work for you. But this is just sort of like the main stuff that has really been important to me in my life. So if you see here, we got these 3 main branching paths, and then they branch into, you see, like these other little thingamabobbers. The red lines are like the core main branches. The purple lines represent some traps, you know what I mean? The purple lines represent some traps that, some new gen, some noobs might fall into. And the green is sort of like these connecting paths that they're like all connected to each other. Sort of this life tree is all interwoven and interconnected. But yeah, let's break this down for you guys. Here's the 3 main paths. I'm gonna start with this main one, the middle one, because this one is really near and dear to me. This one's really important in my life, and it's basically life ruining habits. And this can come in all forms, but I sort of just went through the main ones that are applicable to my own life.
So you can see they branch off into these 3 main branches. First one, self-explanatory, homeless. Homeless people got swag. Everyone knows this. The rich people even copy the homeless people with their clothes, trying to put holes in their jeans and whatnot, make stuff look worn, paint splatter. We know this. Homeless people have swag. So if you're trying to get swag quick, easy way is to just get broke. Yeah, this one's pretty solid. And you could see, I'll explain this a little bit later, but this kind of branches off into the other path, poverty. You could see a lot actually branches into this poverty path right here, this route. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about that one. Next we got gambling. Now gambling is a pretty solid one. You can just hop on Rainbet and instantly you can feel the swag in your veins. And it's not really something that you can fake, because it's really your energy, your life source, all of your capital is at stake. So you can't really fake this one. That's why this one's pretty solid. It's really strong. Almost impossible to mess up, in my opinion. But you can see this sort of has only 2 ways that this could go, bro. You're either quitting, and the thing with quitting is, first I'll go into poverty. You lose all your money, and that's swag. So you're in the green. You're solid. You got swag if you're poor. You got swag if you're homeless. But if you quit, this is where you could sort of run into a trap, because, and I got like this Chad right here, because I think people that quit, there's like a certain level. It's like a David Goggins sort of figure. You could be hard if you're quitting, but it also kind of comes with, like, the longer you stay away from the degeneracy, sort of the lamer that you could get. We'll break down some other examples here in a little bit, but yeah, just be wary of that. You could just stay swag forever if you go like monk mode. But yeah, that's about it for gambling. Let's move on to drugs. Now I have a geek bar here, and this is sort of like the base level, the entry level. This is sort of like if you're playing an RPG, you're like hitting slimes, you're sort of attacking goblins, that sort of thing. But if you see before all of the branching life paths, there's like levels to this game, bro. It's not that simple. The older you get, like, let me break this down. If you're hitting a geek bar, bro, if you're hitting a vape and you're like in 8th grade, it's infinite swag. It's everyone, all the hoes are on your dick. Like, shit is sweet. You're the coolest kid in school. But when you're 27 and you're hitting the geek bar, like, you kind of just look like a loser. You're not really clouded anymore. And you could sort of spin that in a way to, like, you got like loser swag, but that's a little bit complicated. I'm just going over the basics right now, to get you guys, you know, a start. Get you guys somewhere, you know, because everyone needs swag. Everyone has swag. It's just a matter of unlocking it. But yeah, let's get into these branching paths. I also have this sort of cycle going on because these could sort of, like, you could quit and come back to it like your whole life. You could go down one path, come back, split down the other. It's very risky. That's kind of the problem with this route. But you have high swag potentials, but it's risk versus reward, bro. You could be in the dumps. You could be a tweaker, and not a lot of tweakers can pull that off, like be swaggy and be a tweaker. Basically, if you're tweaking, it's also kind of connected to poverty, so you kind of have like this net under you where you're still in the green, you still got swag, you're homeless, but you can't be swagging if you're dead, so don't OD. There's sort of a fine line that you have to ride. Ain't that right? And the higher you go on these levels, the more difficult it gets, bro. When you're doing snow, bro, when you're doing needles, it gets rough, bro. It gets really hard. But also, the higher you go in the level, if you relinquish your old ways and turn into a Chad, it's insane clout. If, like, for instance, if you're on Instagram, you quit the geek bar, hoes are gonna slide up. They're gonna be like, you know, you put it on your story, hoes are gonna slide up. Oh, congratulations. Boom, there's a little bit of swag, a little crumb. Bro, if you quit heroin, you're genuinely the GOAT. Everyone respects you. You know, it's hard to lose swag after that. You know, it's hard to be corny after that. You could just see it in someone's eyes that they've seen basically heaven, the gates of heaven already, and they're still back in this low-level mortality. You know what I'm saying? Another route, and there's plenty more. You know, I don't know if I explained that. There's plenty more branching paths, but these are just sort of the main ones that I see in my life represented. The wizard route is very popular. I've had a lot of friends go down this, you know. They tweak 10 times. They do a 10 strip of the tabs, and then they're doing magic spells in their room, and they live with their mom. Basically just self-induced schizophrenia. And you could kind of run with this swag. It's not too bad. It's just, I think some people sort of get in the trap of, if you're a wizard, bro, you don't have a lot of self-reflection. And so, what am I trying to say, bro? Basically, you can sort of limit yourself, and you can't grow anymore, and that's really a bad thing, because swag is really about growing. It evolves over time as you live. If you're hindering yourself, dunzo, you're in the trash bin, bro. So you gotta be careful with this one, but it also has high potential, just like this entire route in general. Huge risk versus reward, and you just gotta measure it out, see if it's worth that sort of thing. Also, why I have this green connecting line right here is some relinquished old ways Chads have a secret wizard side that they that they fall back on at night. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't let anyone know that they're casting spells, but really they're casting spells. You know, maybe one time they're tweaking and they casted a spell to quit, and so they still have the wizard mind frame. They're just not geeking anymore. They're not, you know, mixing the cauldron and drinking it. They're just sort of, you know, gaining knowledge, that sort of thing. That's the whole life ruining path for me. There's definitely, you know, some more to that, but that's just what I got on here. Alright, let's go into extremism. I think I spelled that right. So, if you think of, you know, personalities, different things, everything is duality, right? You have different spectrums, different frequencies in life. Yeah, if you're just in the middle, you're a bot. Like, if you're doing everything normal, you don't stand out, you're not being yourself, you got no swag, bro. So, you gotta be on one side of the teeter-totter. But the problem is, some people push it too far, and they sort of, you know, they make this mistake where you're out in no man's land, and it's like, what are you even doing, bro? Like, what is this? Maybe if you're like ultra high level, you could run with this swag and make it work and be sort of an innovator. That's really what this extremism path is about, is innovating, you know, going off the beaten path. But in a lot of cases, you just kind of end up here, and this is not good, bro. This is no swag. This is bad. This is like concerning for your parents and stuff like that. And I sort of dabble in this zone. You know, this is really, if you really look at this chart, it's kind of a self-reflection of myself. I think that's kind of beautiful. Regardless, we got more to cover, so let's move on. So these are sort of the main examples that I got in here. You know, we talked about homelessness, and homelessness is connected to poverty, and I talked about rich people love the poor people swag. And that's definitely true. Poor people got, you know, some undeniable swag to them. They're just sort of floating through existence, you know, letting life, you know, body them, basically give them back shots. And the type of work that does to your soul, it just spawns swag, you know what I mean? But on the flip side, you could be extremely rich, like Kai Cenat. The fuck, bro? You could be extremely rich like Kai Cenat, and he could like buy your parents, bro. Like this, so it's like undeniable swag. You see how corny he is with his tongue out and everything, and he's like making faces and he makes a lot of noise. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because of how much money he has. And we know that rich people can have swag as well, but you know, it's sort of like you could also be corny because less people are rich than there are poor people. You kind of have a like a mob, a stigma against you. A lot of people hate you, but that could also be a good thing. It's just sort of how you use it. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, but yeah, like this dude could buy your house and your family and make him take out the trash for you or something, lick his plates clean. All right, now we have good and evil, and these both, these are mad important, bro. You could have evil swag, you could have good swag, and you can sort of like extrapolate this to everything. It's sort of interwoven and connected to everything on this chart. Some examples of evil swag is like going inside, like breaking inside a grandma's house and stealing jewelry. Like that's swag because now you got chains and whatnot. It's probably for like, it's probably women's jewelry, but it's still swag, you know what I mean? You're sort of just raw, like you're a beast, bro. But you can't let it consume you because you become too evil and it's just sort of cringe. And the same thing happens on the flip side. I got a picture of anime Jesus on here because Jesus had a lot of swag. Big inspiration for, you know, my swagology chart and just my life in general. This is the epitome of swag. You know, not really that cringe, gets edits made of himself and whatnot, etched into history books. But there are people, you know, that are like they try to be so good that it's just cringe at a certain point, bro. Things just kind of like you can't control the universe. For instance, if you give to a charity and the charity just runs off with your money, it's like, yeah, you tried to commit a good deed, but in the end, like nothing good came from it. So it's kind of not swag, bro. But you could also just be like a genuine good person, light up, you know, brighten someone's day, and that's swag too. It's just a different type, but people don't really see that most of the time. Yeah, that's all I got to say about this path. Let's move on to swag biting. So I don't have too much for swag biting. This one you really got to be careful of, but it can work. And you might be thinking like, bro, I thought swag biting is bad. Broken Gifted, you hate swag biting. And it's like, yeah, in most cases, bro. But in some cases, it's mad funny, bro. And a good example of this, I think, is gay people, bro. Like, if we're being honest, bro, like, a lot of these gays just took women's swag and just ran with it. Low-key, in the words of a homo, they ate, bro. They clocked and whatnot. But also sometimes it could be, you know, annoying. And another one that we often see is the race-stealing swag. I'm not going to talk about any other races. but, you know, prime example, Eminem, like the white boy trying to steal the black man's swag. There's just something wrong about it. And, you know, it could be done well if you're a little goofy twink like Netspend, but it can also be really bad, like in the case of Eminem, bro. And a common trap that the swag biters fall into is clout chasing, obviously. And, yeah, we got one of Broken Gifted's favorite enemies, the fake gays, bro. Neither of these men are homosexual, but they're pretending to be just to get a little bit of attention. And that's cringe, bro. It's not swag. It can never be swag. You're faking it, bro. And I also don't want this to get confused. Just because you're flashy does not mean that it's not swag. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like, this is you're shouting for attention, you're screaming for attention. But so is this. But this is elite, bro. This is insane swag. But this is not. So it's sort of like a duality with everything. But yeah, that's the chart of swagology. I hope you guys learned a little bit from my masterclass.
No, I hope you guys enjoyed that and, you know, maybe learned a little something. But yeah, we got more comments to go through. So let's just get into reading the second one. Oh, this one got a lot of likes too. Alright, it says, will you ever quit the Geek Bar? We care about you, Broken Gifted, and we don't want you to get wrecked by cancer. Like sad derp emoji or whatever the hell. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw my last video. I tried to quit. I tried my very best, but the Geek Bar still has a seductive hold on me. But lately, my lungs have not been working right. And so that made me kind of think like, damn, I'm going to go into the hospital and all my fans are going to be sad, but like, it's whatever, bro. All right, let's get into the next comment. This one is from I Love Broken Gifted. Hey, that's a nice username. And it says, Mr. Broken Gifted, do you have a girlfriend? No, guys, can you please stop asking this? You guys comment this like every single video. Just stop already. But nah, if you're over 200 pounds, my DMs are open. Now, there was a lot of other comments, but I had to be selective with the ones that I'm choosing. But yeah, the last one, this is a hate comment. I don't really know what they were trying to accomplish with this one. But yeah, this is from Let My Nuts Hang. And it says, your videos freaking suck. Never make another one again. Stop stealing my 304s. I'm not really sure what that means. Comma, I hope the Geek Bar makes you toaster bath. Broken Gifted can kiss my nuts. Well, I'm not really sure what that means. You know, maybe you guys can comment down below what you think that means. But I'm pretty sure that was a hate comment. I think I'm going to be deleting that because that was kind of messed up. But don't ever let the haters get to you guys. Basically, just let your swag shine like me and stay goated. But yeah, that's the end of the video. I'm going to see you guys later. I love you.